Hey guys, Youngblood with you to cover the ATV from February 16th and Happy Hour from February 17th in this episode of Summarize the Verse. Now let's go ahead and get started with the details from around the verse, where they mentioned that the Valentine's sale that is up is actually the first of its kind, and we haven't had one of these before, and it accompanies a free flight for new players. I covered that in a video last week, so if you want to know what sale is actually entailing, feel free to go check that out. 2.6 was confirmed to include Spectrum's launch from PTU to Live. Now keep in mind that this is the initial iteration and it's going to grow significantly from where it's at today over time. So now it's sort of like a hybrid between like a chat and a forum, almost like what Discord is. In the UK studio update, they showed off some cool imagery of things like shield generators and mining parts and damage states of the Dragonfly, basically showing that they're progressing with more of the assets to get them into the game. They also showcased a map of the Stanton system, which I actually thought was pretty cool. And it really just kind of zooms out to give you an idea of the scale of where we are today and what's going to open up for us later. And it really was pretty impressive, even though it wasn't really in-game art, but it was more of just a scale. Ship shape was focused on the Super Hornet, and we find out that the Hornet started out as actually a light fighter, but the initial design showed it to be heavier with armor and weapons, so they decided to up the category into more of a medium class of fighter. The new Super Hornet design is going to be released in 2.6.1, and while it has some nice updates, it still keeps the I don't know, kind of the bulk of the original design. One of the updates was changing the old damage states, which were handcrafted at certain levels, to a new shader system, which actually applies the damage as it should be applied to reflect the damage that you took to certain parts of the ship in different varying levels of damage. They went into a lot of detail on the multi-region servers that are coming and confirmed that we've always been on public servers and that using cloud helps to keep overhead down and increases the overall agility of their platform. The cloud also gives you the same experience regardless of the server that you're on, so you can connect to a server, closer to you than the one at the central location. Now, the way that they can retain information regardless of what server you're accessing is that they're all tied into one central database that controls player information and like inventory and that sort of thing. And you can choose your server's location, or the game will do it for you. And it does that by sending you to a load balancer, who then grabs the closest hub and then tags you with a regional ID and then assigns you to a certain server from there. So while locations of servers today are just in North Virginia, Frankfurt, and Sydney, they are planning on adding more to get up to about 14 or 15 regions in total. The happy hour featured Disco, Will Weisbaum from writing, and Beam streamer Clifford. When the writing team was asked about alien species and if they have weapons and items that can be used by humans, and how involved that gets based on grip, he said that he couldn't really answer it because they're still working out those items and the details on that and how it's going to impact it in the verse. To me, I think it's a yes, but they aren't sure how that they're going to actually limit the equipment or what modifications are going to need to be made. But I think there is going to be things where you can't necessarily pick up like a GN tool and use it without some modification. To diversify our lore experience, we're going to start seeing things like pop stars making appearances, starting with posters in Star Marine for artists. The Carrack, unfortunately, is only on the schedule, but it's not in active development, but they do promise to let us know once it's in production. They want to have different types of social mores based on your location in the verse, because communication isn't meant to be instant. Like, you have to send drones through a jump point to transmit information, or use something like a herald. So it's natural for there to be different types of people in different parts of space, based on the slow traveling of information alone, but also just the type of careers and environment people are growing up in. The Anvil Hurricane was announced to be going on sale this coming Friday. The price is unknown, but as soon as we get it, I'll do a follow-up video on the ship. And finally, we know that Chris doesn't like the idea of AI, but they did say that they have repair bots like at Cryastra and potentially cargo bots being added into the game as well. So that's your Summarize the Verse from this past week. If you have questions, get them in the comments. Otherwise, stay tuned for a whole lot more content coming your way soon. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. Take care.